Okay, Cam, I put you up here next to the Yankee. I think that's Sanchez. I'm not sure. This is your first game, first at bat, and it's real close. And as you'll see on later ones, that you don't do this all the time, but it's the one flaw that I'd like to see you work on in the off season. So you can see as you're taking your stride here, okay. What I really want you to work on is staying connected. That's this space. Let me get that arrow on. That's this space here between your top hand and your back shoulder, right? There's a little bit of separation there, but I just want you to see as you are hitting, see all that space that we've got there? Right? See all that space that we've got there? And you use your lower half so well. If we can just have you stay connected, see how you're a fist away from your back shoulder? And as you're starting your swing, you can see how you're just creating that distance between your top hand and your back shoulder. Now, if you look at Sanchez on this side, you can see there he is to load. Now you can see, look at the back elbow work independent as he starts his lower half drive. Right, he's driving his lower half. His hands haven't moved. His back elbow is still dropping. Now see how his hands are coming in. Look at how connected he stayed there. And you can see how you're creating just a little bit of separation there, right? And I think the stretch that he gets there with his lower half, right? His foot's down. You can see his hip drive, back elbow drops, his hands haven't moved. They haven't moved. And he's still that connected. Here, we're just starting to leak out a little bit with our hands, right? And you can see as you're going to the ball, see all that space that you have there? And you can see now Sanchez, as he starts, see how tight he is in there? And the end result is you can see as you're creating that space, how longer that is. As you look at your hands relative to the fence, see how it's a lot more down, and then we start coming forward to a ball that's pretty center. Whereas you can see Sanchez gets that stretch and his hands stay right there. He's got his lower half going, back elbow drops, his hands staying tight. And you can see the flight path of his hands. Look how tight he is there. I know the camera angle is not the exact same, but as we do a comp, you can see how much further your hands are away from your body. And as his hands stay close to his body, you can see he's still in tight. And you can see the space that you've created there with your hands as he's able to pull straight through to the ball, and we're just a little bit leaky and just a little bit around. Not around, but we're just longer to the ball there, which is just going to make us susceptible to a ball that's in. Right? Again, you can see the space there versus how tight Sanchez is. If we can get you to get that movement, it's going to be unstoppable, as opposed to you just getting a little bit around there. Okay, Cam, this is your first at bat live off Coach Whitty, and you can see that's pretty good, right? As I'm watching, I'm going to zoom in. As we hit, I'm seeing that back elbow work independent of the hands. We're staying connected. That's real good right there. Just the littlest of movement with your hands coming out just a little bit. Now the end result is the pitch is up, okay? So we pop up. You're going to see on your next one that you stay even tighter, but this isn't bad. Again, as we zoom in, we start to see that, and it's so close on this, Cam. Back elbow coming down. It's just that little bit of space that you created right there. I had you up against Sanchez last time. That's closer to keeping your hands in tight as your back elbow drops. Now, it's hard to evaluate because this pitch is so far up. But as you get in tight there, we're doing a pretty good direction right there on just a bad pitch. We'll see on our second swing. I think you stay even better from there to there. Okay, Cam, this is your second swing off of Coach Whitty. And this is the best job that you do. See that back elbow drop independent of the hands, and your hands stay almost completely connected. Just a little bit of extra space there. But it's real close. And you can see the length that you got through that as you hammered it. See, we just get that tiniest of leak. But it's so close, Cam. You're the best guy that we've got as far as getting that back elbow to work independent of your hands. Okay, let's go zoom in. See how that back elbow drops independent of your hands? And just that little bit of space, ever so much there gets created, right? Think back, I'm not going to put the Sanchez one back up again, but just a little bit of space as you then pull back through, but it's so close. Again, watch the back elbow. See the back elbow coming down independent of your hands? Great. We just got a little bit of space in there. Just if we could just get that little bit of space out. See that little bit of space that emerges? Think back to the one that I had you next to Sanchez and how his top hand stayed right up against his back shoulder. If we could just get that little bit of space out there, we would be great. But that is still a ridiculous stretch. Look how much your back half has come in right there. Okay? See how your hands are still back. That's why you can hammer the ball. We would just be more efficient, and we could get the ball that comes in if we just took out that little space there. See, pull back in real good. As I just roll my finger, look at the great stretch that you get. Look at the great stretch that you get. Look at the great stretch that you get. Now, if you could just keep your hands a little closer as you get to that point, you'd be unstoppable, man, because that's you can't teach that. That's just gifted to be able to do that. If we could just have our hands staying a little tighter, we'd be that much better. Okay, Cam, this is your first at bat in the last game off the close, slow machine, and you killed this. Pretty good position there. We're starting to see that back elbow ride. And what I'm really obsessed with is the space that you keep between your top hand and your back shoulder. That's pretty tight right there. That's pretty good. See, we're getting that elbow leading the hands. Elbow lead the hands. Elbow lead the hands, right? It's not the perfect stretch, but it's pretty close. But what I like is I think this is the best job you do of keeping your hands in tight there. Let me zoom it back out for quality. That's a pretty direct path to the ball. Head down through extension. What we want to do is just keep working on throughout this fall or the winter is feel that as we get that stretch, that back elbow goes and we keep the space in here to a minimum. That's a pretty good job of coming straight out. That's a really good stretch right there. Stay down real good through extension. See how our top hand stays pretty close there? See, look how much our elbow has come down and our hands are still back. That's pretty good, Cam. That's basically no leak at all. That's a real good job. I mean, it is the slightest thing. But you compare that to some of the other swings, like the early one. See how close it is to your hands coming right out of the slot. Look at that stretch right there. That's really good. And the direction is totally out towards the ball and away there. Okay, Cam, here's your second at bat in the last game. And same thing we've been talking about. We're just watching the space between your top hand and your back shoulder. We've definitely seen some back elbow lead there. I think you create just a little bit more space that time. Still a good stretch, though. That's still a pretty good position right there. And we stay down long through. Extension, that's real good. Backside releases, real good. I think we can just be a little bit tighter as we watch the space between our top hand and our back shoulder. And see how we get a little bit apart and then we have to pull back in. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in here. Not bad, just a little space. Great job, elbow down though. See how then we have to pull back in? See just a little, yeah, see right there, we just see a little bit of inefficiency right there. And don't misconstrue any of this. Like, we're nitpicking, right? Because we've got 4 months to do nothing but nitpick. Because you're so good, we want to just get it perfect. So please don't think that this is anything negative. Love the way that we've got back elbow ride there. Just a little bit apart, and then we come back in. Just a little bit apart, then we come back in. But brother, you are so close. If we can just, as I roll my finger, just continue to work on our efficiency right there. Right there. Right? We just come apart just a little bit and then come back in. Come apart just a tiniest of bits and then come back in. But there's a reason you're hitting the ball 500 miles an hour, because of the stretch that you're getting with your lower half and upper half there. Just let's fine tune that one little thing where we just get a little bit apart and then come back in there.